so I'm going to go ahead and go through just some housekeeping things and hope that we just have a few more people joining us as we go through. Welcome. My name is Elizabeth Drembus, and I am the genealogist for the William and Mary Bray School Lab. So in service to the Bray School Lab's mission to uncovering, documenting, preserving, and disseminating the history and legacies of the Williamsburg Bray School, we host a monthly series on Zoom in order to share recent genealogical findings, engage the descendant community in this work in order to broaden our understanding of those legacies, and enlist the help of historians, genealogists, as well as the general public in furthering the conversations and the research surrounding the Williamsburg Bray School. The title of the monthly series is Bray School Stories. This evening's focus is Legacies Discovered through both oral history and genealogy. So once again, we are recording this session. It will be available later on our YouTube channel. To find it, simply Google Bray School Lab YouTube. If you prefer not to be recorded, please feel free to access this later from the YouTube channel. And we have a special announcement of an upcoming event. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we want to welcome Dr. Maureen Elgersman-Lee, the director of the William and Mary Bray School Lab, to talk about the Slate seminars. Let me get to my page, share. And current slide. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening, everyone. I just want to announce that we are looking forward to what is for the William and Mary Bray School Lab a key event each year. October 25th and 26th, that's a Friday, a Friday and a Saturday, we will be having our Slate seminar. It will be our third annual Slate seminar. The Slate seminar is a conference within a conference, meaning that we deliver this conference as part of a larger conference called For 2026. That is a conference, a very dynamic conference that marks annually our progression towards 2026, the year of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The Slate seminar this year will again be at the School of Education, William and Mary School of Education, well-placed, easily accessed on Monticello Avenue. For those who've been here before, you know how great a venue that is. For those who would be coming for the first time, you will greatly enjoy this event. Registration is beginning. It is a conference that is free to registrants. You must register through the William and Mary Bray School Lab, either through the website directly or using the QR code that you see on the screen. It is a conference that is made possible through the generous support of the Mellon Foundation. And there'll be more information to come in the upcoming weeks, but we are really kicking off the registration period, if you would. So again, it is a free conference. We focus on the Williamsburg Bray School, the Bray School history and context, the descendant community, and just ongoing research, similar to what we're talking about this evening, but also enveloping oral history, student engagement in the research, collaboration with descendants, and also with other organizations, all who are committed to our joint goal of, as Elizabeth said, studying, understanding, preserving, and sharing broadly the history and legacies of the Williamsburg Bray School and its students.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. So our monthly sessions are designed to spark conversation. And this is a very special edition of Bray School Stories, and one that I've been looking forward to and I'm excited to share with you. And normally I would share a slide and some information, and then we'll pause to take questions and invite you to share your thoughts and your comments. However, this evening, we're going to do things a little differently. So I'm joined by two very special guests. My colleague, Tonia Merideth, the oral historian here at the William and Mary Bray School Lab, and Miss Loretta Burwell. And Tonia will be talking about how oral history is informing the genealogical work at the lab. And she will then introduce Miss Loretta, who will discuss her family history journey using both oral history and genealogical research. We will be sure to leave time at the end for questions and answers, and questions can be placed in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and Maureen is my wonderful co-host is going to be able to monitor that. So
Yes, so hello everyone. My name is Tonia Merideth. I'm the oral historian for the William and Mary Bray School Lab. I'm creating the oral history project to preserve the legacy of the Bray School Bray School scholars through the descendant community. But the other thing that I do, it's what we call a two-pronged approach to searching for the descendant community or direct descendants of the Bray scholars, and to inform the research that we do at the William and Mary Bray School Lab, is something that is very important that we rely on, is the rubric for engaging with descendant community members, for engaging with descendant communities. It's a rubric that was written by a bunch of historians, scholars, museum workers, and teachers to help institutions who are interpreting slavery, museum sites, and institutions that are working with descendant communities in interpreting slavery. And in that rubric, it states that oral histories, along with any other document or item of that genealogy that these institutions and museum sites are using, should be put on equal footing with the research that they are doing. So at the Bray School Lab, we are striving to do that. We are going into the descendant community and asking them if they have any information that will help lead us to finding finding direct descendants of the Bray scholars. So many of you are familiar with a project that is currently going on in the Williamsburg area, the historic First Baptist Church. And owing to an oral history given by a First Baptist Church member named Fannie Mae Epps, she had an oral history where she said that her great great grandfather was buried at the site that is on Nassau Street that was once the home of the historic First Baptist Church. That oral history led to the discovery of 62 bodies that were buried under a parking lot. So that's just one of the ways that that oral histories has informed research in our local area. But a question that many may have is, do we have that for the Williamsburg Bray School? Are there any oral histories that help inform our research for the Bray School that existed between 1760 and 1774? And the answer is that we do. We do have an oral history related by Colonel Lafayette Jones in his book, My Great Great Grandfather's Journey to an Island of Freedom. And in that book, Colonel Lafayette Jones relates the oral history handed down to him by his ancestors, that the Jones children, a free family that attended the Williamsburg Bray School, that the Jones children returned to their families, returned to their community, and educated their community and taught them to read and write as they were taught to read and write. Another source that we have is the book by William Mobile Ashby. It's called Tales Without Hate. And in his book, he relates the genealogy of his family, but he also gives other pertinent information that helps us find the descendants of the Bray School scholars. He relates where the Ashby family resided at that time, which would be Carter's Grove in York County. But he also gives a lot of very descriptive information that helps inform our research here at the Bray School Lab. So for Elizabeth and I, again, it's that two-pronged approach of using the documents that we have that lead to historical research, but also going to the community to see if there's any information that they have that can help us. And so on a previous Zoom session, Bray School Series Zoom session, Elizabeth did one on a Bray School scholar named Aggie. And Elizabeth was able to determine that Aggie's daughter, Kitty, had been willed to Betty Randolph's niece, Elizabeth Harrison, who marries Lewis Burrell of Mecklenburg County. So we decided to make a trip to Mecklenburg County to see Elizabeth, to see if she could find any documents that would help us find the descendant community that may be descended from Kitty and her children. But I also went along to see if there was any information that I could find in the descendant community that could help us find the descendants of Kitty and her children. We ended up at the Boyton Library in Mecklenburg County, and we went through some of the records there. But right before we left, we saw a silver box that had a little note, that had a note on it, that if anyone was looking for their ancestors, to drop a card in the box. And so we went through the box and we found a card with a woman's name on it. Her name was Loretta Burwell. And we reached out to her. On the card, it said that she was looking for the Burrell family, and she said that her father's name was Nathan Spotswood Burrell. So we reached out to her and spoke with her, and she told us that she had traced her ancestors back to Stoneland Plantation, the home of Lewis Burrell, and the home of who we know two of our Bray scholars. Well, one Isaac B, and then the other one, the descendant of a Bray scholar, Aggie. So she is here today to tell us about that story. And I'm gonna go ahead and have her share her screen or turn it over to her so that we can listen to her story.
So I'm going to just break in for just a moment, Tonia. So the email didn't come through. I think you did a marvelous job kind of walking through all of this stuff. It's okay. Before you start asking Miss Loretta, getting that conversation going, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, which has just some helpful, just kind of graphic on, so we can keep all the people straight in Miss Loretta's family. So I'm going to do that. But if you want to go ahead and start, that'd be great.
Okay. So is she still with us? Miss
Yep,
Loretta,
she
are you
sure
still there?
is.
I'm still here. What do you want me to do?
Here we go.
Yes, hi. Miss Loretta, could you please tell us then the history of your family?
Well, I see you have the 1801 page of the inventory that I found in Mecklenburg County. But I will go back first to your card that you found in the Mecklenburg Library. I must have left that card there 30 years ago. So I'm excited that you found me after all these years. And I left the library and I went to the courthouse to look for wills. And I found the will of Mr. We say Burwell, you pronounce it Burrell, but that's another story. I found this will, this inventory, and it was very emotional and very moving, because this line that you have on the screen that's highlighted, Dolly and her 4 children, Edmund, Nelson, Fanny, and Rose. Well, Dolly is my great-great-grandmother, and I knew that from the oral history. So when I saw her name for the first time in print in the Mecklenburg County Courthouse, of course I broke down and cried. And there were all these lawyers running around doing their research, and they knew what I was doing in the back part. So, and they nodded and smiled, but they left me alone. That was a very emotional moment, because my father had mentioned Dolly and how she was a strict disciplinarian. I don't remember his exact words, but that's how the persona of Dolly came down to me. And in recent years, I have tried very much to keep her memory alive. And the way that I do that is probably going to be very strange to a lot of people, but I like to hear her name called. And so when I go to a place to pick up food, wherever it is, Cracker Barrel, who knows, when they ask for a name, I say Dolly. And they'll come on and they'll say, Dolly, your food is ready. Sometimes they say, Mama Dolly, your food is ready. And one incident was when I went through a drive-through at Chick-fil-A, and I told this young man my name was Dolly, and he broke out into song and sang the whole Hello Dolly song to me. And that was very special to me, because I thought, Dolly, wherever you are, we are keeping your name alive here in Covington, Georgia. But that's Dolly. And across there, there's Fanny, one of her children. That's my great-grandmother. And Fanny had 8 children. One was Nathan, and then there's Nathan again, and Nathan, my father. So we have Nathans from Fanny for 5 generations. That name has survived for 5 generations. But the interesting thing about Fanny is that I knew about her because she had been mentioned in some of the history books in North Carolina. This will is from the Stoneland Plantation. This is 1801, what we're looking at on the screen. But in 1815, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, 1816, Stoneland Plantation burned to the ground. And this Fanny on this list was a servant in that house. And she asked one of the Burwell girls, Martha, to jump from a 2nd-story window into her arms to save her life. And great-grandma Fanny did that. And in the process, broke her arm. Her arm was broken. And so from that, the family would write about her because they loved her so much, because she saved that girl from the fire. Several people died in that fire. And so that was very important that this girl was saved. And what I learned later about Fanny, and it was in quotation marks, she was given to Spotswood Burwell, who was at Spring Grove Plantation, 1 county down from Mecklenburg County, which is Vance County, North Carolina. And I don't know what the quotation marks given, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that she became his mistress or his concubine or what, I don't know. And I don't have any record of who the father was for Fanny's 8 children. But I do have oral history that my father said Petway Burwell, which they call Lawyer Petney, was a cousin. And so that's one of the grandchildren or great-grandchildren of Spotswood Burwell. So the oral history says we're related. I don't know about that. We're almost certain, but you can never prove that unless you do it through DNA.
Right.
So that's my Dolly story and my Fanny story.
Thank you. And then there was one other item that you helped us with. You mentioned that when you came to Williamsburg and did the research on your family, you were directed to Loretta Walsh. And we know some of you may know her. She's an author that wrote related to the Williamsburg area and the Green Springs Plantation from Calabar to Carter's Grove. Colonial Williamsburg author and historian, but you did meet with her and she gave you some information that helped you in your search related to the Commonplace book. Can you talk about that?
Yes, I never met Loretta Walsh in person, but I talked to her on the phone a couple of times. We had some long conversations, and she directed me to that Commonplace book. I don't remember, I think that was Dinwiddie County that the Commonplace book was found. It was a list that was kept, I think, by John, one of Lewis's sons. It was kept by him, and then when he died, kept by his wife. And there's some names listed in there. Aggie is one, and there's some other names. So I did look at that Commonplace book. I don't know how we're connected to that book, but probably through Aggie, I'm not sure.
Right. So actually the Commonplace book is where we find Lewis Lewis Burrow's mother, Christian Blair, wills him an enslaved person named Dolly. So at this point, because of the information that you gave us, we wanted to explore those oral histories in your family. So Elizabeth went back to do the research with the information that you gave us, and I'll let Elizabeth take it from there so that we can let everybody know where we are with determining whether or not your Dolly was the Dolly that attended the Bray School.
Thank you, Miss Loretta. Thank you, Tonia. That was the question. Could Miss Loretta's Dolly be the Dolly who attended the Williamsburg Bray School? And so let me see if I can get to the next slide. This is really what we're up against. And when we talk in genealogical terms about doing the exhaustive research, this is what, we couldn't just jump right to that conclusion. So with the information that Miss Loretta gave us, and with the information in the Commonplace book, we started to build out the picture of John Blair and his heirs, and where Dolly fit in that. We know that John Blair, from the Williamsburg Bray School attendance lists, sent a Dolly to the Williamsburg Bray School in 1762, and a young girl named Doll in 1765. Now, is that the same person? Right now, we're working with the information that it may be the same person, that there are not two Dollys or Dolls in the Blair household. We're just kind of holding on to that right now. We know that John Blair had many children, but we want to focus right now, for our purposes, on his three daughters. Christian Blair was the oldest of the daughters, and she married Armistead Burwell. And they, in turn, had two sons, Lewis and John Burwell, who Miss Loretta just referred to. And Armistead Burwell died in 1754, leaving Christian Blair a widow with two young children. And Armistead Burwell had started to list the names of his enslaved household members in this book. And then his widow picked up it from there, and she also started recording names in the Commonplace book. What we also know about Christian Blair is she also sent two enslaved boys to the Williamsburg Bray School in 1765. She sent Davy and Joseph. And so we know that the Blairs are very much involved with the Williamsburg Bray School. And in fact, John Blair himself sends the most number of children to the Bray School. So it's important then to also keep in mind kind of like timelines and time frames. When in the Commonplace book, there are two lists that are made out. And the research that's been done by Julie Richter for Colonial Williamsburg and for William and Mary really kind of goes into great detail into this book, and it's specifically these two lists. The one list doesn't have a title on it, but it's a long list of enslaved people's names, and that's where we find the name Doll on that list. The next list that Christian Blair Burwell made was a list of enslaved people she was going to be giving to her son, John Burwell. And so Julie's research and really looking at this and studying this book really came to the conclusion that at this point in 1766 and in 1767, this is when Lewis and his brother John would have come of age as to be 21 years old. And at this point then, Christian Blair Burwell is then giving them what is their inheritance from their father's estate. And that was kind of the tip-off that the doll or dolly that shows up in Lewis Burwell's household may not have been the doll from the Bray School doll, but if that dolly was coming through Armistead Burwell's estate. Now, we don't know for sure. We don't have the estate distribution records for Armistead Burwell. And even more importantly, we don't have the inventory and the estate distribution records from John Blair. They are missing. We have not been able to uncover them. when we look at the rest of John Blair's children, we're having to go forward in time in order to kind of fill in that gap of not having that record. And so we look at Anne Blair, who married John Bannister, and Sarah Blair, who married Wilson Miles Carey. And they each have a young woman by the name of Dolly in their household records as well. So right now we're looking at 3 different people, all with the same name. And which one of those was the one who went to the Williamsburg Bray School? Right now it's inconclusive. We don't know whether John Blair, before he died, would have perhaps given Dolly to Christian Blair Burwell to then pass on to her son, Lewis Burwell. It's entirely possible. We just don't have the records for that. He could have done the same thing with his 2 other daughters as well. So this is where we get a little stuck. But we just want to be very clear on really how we go about doing this research. And for people who like timelines, this is another way of looking at this information. How do we know that it's not the same person being passed from household to household, and there is only one Dolly? Well, the key is the tax list in 1783, where we have a Dolly in Lewis Burwell's tax list in Mecklenburg County, a Dolly in Warwick County with the Wilson Miles Carey's personal property tax list, as well as a Dolly named in John Bannister's tax list in Dinwiddie County. And that is curious because Miss Loretta just mentioned Dinwiddie County because that's where Lewis's brother, John Burwell, ends up. And that's where the Commonplace book also ends up with Christian Blair Burwell's daughter-in-law, Ann Powell. And that's a whole nother story and a whole nother connection to Williamsburg. But we know that we're dealing with at least 3 people with that name. And until we are able to find some additional records, really would be great if anybody happens to know where John Blair's estate records and inventory would be. It hasn't turned up. We would love to find that. That would answer probably a lot of questions. But to Tonia's point, we really do work very much hand in hand with the oral history. We take it very seriously. We look at any leads that oral history is able to give us. It's absolutely important because we know that that information is being passed down sometimes, a lot of times in families. And that's the only record that we have to go on. And even if Miss Loretta's ancestor, Dolly, is not maybe directly related to a Williamsburg Bray School scholar, we know that she's part of this larger descendant community because she is connected, and her Dolly is connected to Christian Blair Burwell. She's connected to Lewis Burwell, who are connected to John Blair. And so, and we know her ancestry, you know, started in Williamsburg. So she is part of this descendant community. So we were thrilled to be able to meet with her and talk with her. And the research is ongoing and we're going to keep at it. And I think that was really what we wanted to cover. But because we have such special guests with us, Tonia and Miss Loretta, we really wanted to be able to have this conversation and open it up to you all for what you're seeing and questions that you might have. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that we can really open this up to the people here with us tonight. So it looks like the chat's been busy, but I haven't really been able to monitor whether there are already any lingering questions, or if Tonia, if you had any questions that you wanted to ask Miss Loretta that we didn't get to cover.
There was a couple of other stories that she gave us about Fanny. Can you talk to us about the oral history of her being a strict disciplinarian, and who told you about that?
That was Dolly.
I'm sorry, Dolly. Sorry, yes.
That was Dolly. That's very scanty. The only person in my family that mentioned Dolly to me was my father, Nathan. And he would always get rather tickled at saying Mama Dolly. He called her Mama Dolly. Didn't stand for any nonsense. Was so I took that to mean she was a strict disciplinarian. And what fascinates me about that part is that my father was born in 1906. And you see Dolly on that inventory in 1801. So what is that, 100 years, they're still talking about her. And so that's what fascinates me, that they kept things going in the family,
Mhm.
even though they're just snippets.
Right, right.
They're very precious to me.
Certainly, absolutely.
And that
And then,
and the her daughter Fanny, if you want jobs that they did, um, I think one of her daughters was the seamstress on the plantation. They all had jobs and a place and whatever they did. And my great great grandfather was the miller, and my great great uncle Lee was the butler and the baker. He had two jobs. And so those stories came down. We already knew that my great grandfather Nathan was the miller. And one interesting thing about that is that he was that in slavery. And then when slavery was over, he continued to be the miller. And I only went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill once, because that's where the Burwell papers are. I only went there once, and I was going through some things, and I found out where Mr. Burwell had to pay great great granddaddy Nathan to mill his corn that he was doing for him in slavery for nothing. And but the documentation was they had to pay him money to grind the corn, and I found that very interesting. So they stayed. What's interesting about that is that they stayed in the same area and they stayed in contact.
mhm, mhm. I also wanted to ask you about the essay that you wrote. You sent to Elizabeth and I earlier today because you said there was something that called you back to the area. And if you don't mind, I'd like to read just the very end of that essay. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. But we might cry, but that's okay.
um, the very end of it, and this was written in January of 2002, you said um, that the leaves rustle and I tell myself it is the voices of people who lived, loved, and worked in these woods, talking about in the Williamsburg area. Yes, they whisper, we are still here. I draw my coat closer against the February chill. I love you, my people, I say, again and again, bathing the litany with my tears. I am the future that you dreamed and worked for, and I am here to honor you. And I do not leave until I feel a blessing.
Okay, we'll cry now.
And so, do you still feel that, especially knowing about the legacy of education that
Yes,
is Bray School? And so, you are an educator yourself, or
yes,
were an educator
yes,
yourself.
I'm retired. Yes.
Can you talk to us about your career as an educator?
I feel very strongly about these things. And boy, I wrote that essay 20 years ago, but I'm still feeling it. Um, when you're deeply into this research and you keep looking and looking and you find out stories and all this, there's a feeling you get that the ancestors want their stories known. And I always get that feeling. And I got that feeling when I was there in Williamsburg that day looking at that graveyard. It's like their presence was there. And it's a very strong emotional feeling. And I think every generation has a duty and a job to do. And I keep thinking in my generation, it was my job to make sure that these people were not forgotten. I'm very, very emotional about that.
Ooh, thank you so much for sharing. that with us. We appreciate that. And thank you for letting me read that portion of the essay.
You're welcome.
Elizabeth, did you want to see if Swan was still on the call and wanted to say a couple of things about her father, Colonel Lafayette Jones?
I wonder, I know in the chat, this one, you mentioned a little bit about your family. We would love to have you be a part of this conversation as well. What would you like to share about your family history? And you in the chat, you say, I am a descendant of one of the free Black students. John Jones was my great-great-great-grandfather. He also would have been one of the first residents of Hot Water, now known as Freedom Park. Would you like to join in the conversation? We'd love to have you be a part of this.
Yes, yes. I would love to. Hello, everyone. My father was Colonel Lafayette Jones, and he recently passed in February. So it's been really a difficult time. Excuse me. Not having him here with us to be a part of this, because this is what he worked so hard for. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this. It's also special for me because on my mother's side, my mother and I, we are refugees from Vietnam. And we, by chance of miracle, were able to come to the US as refugees and settle here. And I was 28 years old when I was reunited with my father. We'd been separated because of the Vietnam War. And so at that time, getting to know my father, and he was sharing the family history with me. This was before he wrote his book. This was before he did his work in helping establish Freedom Park in Williamsburg. I think it was really important for him to have something documented for me, my children, and everyone else in the community. And that's what he worked toward. And what he shared with me was that John Jones would have been a student at the Bray School as a free Black student. He later on would have grown up to be, and this is all based on timeline and what my dad shared with me, he would have been one of the first residents of Hot Water, which is now Freedom Park. Mm-hmm. And so I can only imagine what that was like at that time to be a resident there. And his son, John Thomas Jones, would have been born there at Hot Water as well, went on to enlist in the 2nd Colored Cavalry as a free Black man to fight in the Civil War. He is buried at Chickahominy Baptist Church. And what really kind of broke my heart was when I went to go look for him, his grave, not find. And so, excuse me, I couldn't find it. And so now in my heart, I think I need to work towards preserving that part of history because that's important as well. And if anyone can help with that, I would really appreciate that. I'm so sorry for being so emotional.
No, thank you for that, Swan. We know, as Ms. Loretta mentioned earlier, that this is very emotional and this is hard history. And we appreciate everyone who shares the stories, knowing that they're having to pull from a very emotional spot in themselves. So we appreciate that. Thank you for joining in on the conversation tonight.
It is very generous of everybody to share in whatever way they do. So thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate that very much.
Of course. And I think Tonia and I will probably want to follow up with you on a few questions that we have.
I would love that. I would love that.
That'd be great.
So, thank you so much.
Okay.
Elizabeth, we have a hand raised. Denise, is that your hand I see? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question or comment.
Yes, that is my hand. There was a comment I think Tonia made about, I'm crying, by the way, for your descendants who are sharing their stories, because they're very touching. But anyway, there was a mention that there were found 69 bodies buried underneath a parking lot, which is like making me wonder how you could pave over and park over that many grave sites unless they were unmarked and nobody knew it was a grave site. Can we share more information about that?
That's actually the historic First Baptist Church. Their first the first location that they had on Nassau Street. There was a cemetery at that location. We aren't sure how that happened, how it ended up getting paved over. If there were records that showed that people were buried there, but we know that there was a persistent oral history in the community that people were buried there. But First Baptist Church ended up selling that lot to Colonial Williamsburg for them to expand the historic area, and they built a new church out on Scotland Street. But it did resurface a couple of years later of whether or not there were people buried there, and still Colonial Williamsburg Foundation did go ahead and pursue that, and they did end up finding 62 bodies. So they are in the process of commemorating that site. They just had the grave marker unveiling on Juneteenth, but that story is still in progress. So you could probably go to the Let Freedom Ring Foundation website and find out more information about that.
Well, I'm happy to hear that they pursued it, because a lot of things that are orally transmitted don't always get
Don't get
usually
right.
pursued,
Right,
because you
right,
have to have a paper trail. And
right.
that obviously it turned out to be true, and that they've actually honored those people.
That's right.
I have a question, if nobody else has one right this minute.
Please, please.
I I think I heard somebody say that at the Bray School they were taught to read and write, and I would like a clarification, because I always thought that they taught them to read but not to write, so they could not write a pass to get away. So I just wanted clarification of what they were taught at the Bray School.
Maureen, do you want to, we've talked a lot about, did you want to field this one, or do you want me to take it?
We can collaborate, because that's what
Okay.
we do.
Okay.
Ms. Burwell, first of all, it is a pleasure to have you on our session. I've been very much looking forward to it. The Williamsburg Bray School is a subject that, again, along with the genealogy and the oral history, the research is ongoing. We know conclusively that children were taught to read. We know that they were taught to spell, and that comes from the surviving records themselves. When we look at the correspondence between the trustees here in Williamsburg and the Bray associates who funded the Williamsburg Bray School and other Bray schools out of their headquarters in England, the correspondence about the purpose for the school, but also we look at the books that were sent, hundreds of books that were sent, books focused on reading, reciting, but also spelling. The child's first book, and which was a small book that taught the basics of reading and also by extension spelling. The writing is increasingly being supported. The thesis that writing was also taught is increasingly being supported by the archaeological evidence, where the documentary evidence does not position writing as a priority in terms of the teaching, because girls and boys were also, because both boys and girls were sent to the Bray School by design. We know also that sewing and knitting were taught. Those things were also clearly articulated in the documents. But we've also been thinking about within the Bray School lab at William Mary, and also certainly within the Colonial Williamsburg research circles of archaeology and so on, that you have reading, you have spelling, and in many cases, once you know how to spell, you can effectively take that next step on your own, even if it's not taught. And then we also know that the samplers, the type of samplers and the type of sewing that the girls would have done to master those incredibly intricate stitching requirements, that was also spelling. They were stitching letters, they were stitching words. So that is spelling in a different way. It's a different form of spelling than a slate, but it is spelling nonetheless. So the concrete, absolutely conclusive, kind of triangulated evidence of writing is not yet there. There is a natural progression when we look at what was taught to the question of writing. The archaeological evidence increasingly supports, with the discovery of the concentration of the slate pencils over a decade ago now, and other subsequent archaeological findings which are being studied to understand their timing and also the role that they would have played as tools, as resources at the Williamsburg Bray School. We do know that writing was taught at other Bray schools as well. So there is precedent, there is context for extending that to Williamsburg. And I hope at least that helps set the groundwork. I see a couple of hands, particularly if those, I see Ms. Saunders, if you are interested and others are interested in extending the conversation about writing in particular, I invite you to unmute yourself so we can kind of wrap up that. And I see that there are other questions as well.
Thank you.
My question is not related to that.
Okay, I think that we can then move on to your question.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the speaker. This is Renata, and I just wanted to make a couple of comments because I was in the car wash and then vacuuming my car with my AirPod in my ear. So I'm not sure what may have been shared already in the chat. But I do want to say that there's a potential connection for me, and so I would love to be able to contact our speaker later. I descend from many families that were in the Brunswick County, which was right next to, or is right next to, Mecklenburg County, as well as the 3 North Carolina counties under that. And specifically in Granville County, I do have Burwells on my tree, but they're Black Burwells. But the other thing is that I descend from the White Hawkins family, which is a very prominent family in that whole area. And they intermarried with the Duke family, and the Duke family named many of their sons Burwell either as a first name or as a middle name. So I'd love to kind of explore that and be able to reach out to the speaker if there's any, if it turns out to be any connection. But I enjoyed what I heard of tonight's talk, and just want to say thank you to everyone who shared tonight.
Thanks, Renata.
And I know you can put me in touch with whoever I need to be put in touch with.
You got it. Absolutely. So.
Okay. Yeah, I came in about 15 minutes late, so I didn't hear like introductions and all of that kind of thing.
Excellent. So, Ms. Loretta, when Renata mentions, those counties, those places, Brunswick County, Granville County, or even other families, the Hawkins and the Duke family, do any of those ring any bells for you, or does that send up any kind of ahas for you at all?
Well, not the Hawkins and the Duke families,
Okay.
but I grew up in Brunswick County. That's where we lived. And my father, Nathan, taught vocational agriculture there for 34 years. So there may be a connection through there. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
the Hawkins and the Dukes were in the North Carolina
They were in North
counties.
Carolina.
mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll take a look at it and get in touch with Elizabeth if I see any reason to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
Yes, that sounds interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Miss Loretta, that you just touched on something about how your father was also an educator, and then you became an educator as well. And it's just, I love just kind of like these overlaps and these intersections of the stories. So
Yes, I think the family very much believed in education. And my father grew up in Vance County, North Carolina,
okay.
and there was no school there for Black children, but they had a school in Henderson, North Carolina, and my grandfather Burwell would send wagons of food to the dining hall there as part of tuition and to help to support the school. And I don't think my father went there, but some of his siblings did. And so even back one more generation, education was very important. And when my father got old enough to go to high school, there was no high school in Vance County. So my grandparents sent him to A&T College, which had a high school department.
Okay.
And my father went to high school at A&T. So I guess you could say education has always been important. And then when he got his degree at Virginia State, he ended up teaching in Brunswick County.
Terrific. I love it. I love it.
You
Oh,
do?
Did your family have any connection to the Mary Potter School in Oxford in Granville County?
Not that I know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, if you scratch around long enough, we're all related.
We are finding more and more how everybody is overlapping in this, and the trees on my walls are getting bigger and bigger. Well, everyone, this has been such a lovely conversation. I hate to have to come to an end, but at the same time, I also want to be very mindful and respectful of everyone's time. And if anyone has any additional topics, questions, comments, please share them.
Before we end, I just want to say I'm so sorry about the technology issue on my part. To the viewers, my many apologies that I couldn't get it together. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Be great. So.
Oh, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the hard work that you are doing, and to thank you for bringing me back into the fold, because I had left this research for at least 20 years. I had just given up on it. So thank you for bringing me back to my research and my family and my roots. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's so funny that you say that, because that trip that day, Elizabeth and I had pretty much given up.
Right.
We had given up, and we were just like, was this going to be a busted trip? Like, no, please let us get something from this trip. And as we were leaving that room, we saw that box, and I get goosebumps every time I tell this story. So we are so glad that our paths crossed with you.
See, that's another way that the ancestors want to be known. It sounds woo-woo, doesn't it?
Right. Absolutely.
But you know, we'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, so everyone, thank you. Thank you for everyone who shared, for opening your hearts and being as generous with your stories. This is hard. And
Yeah.
you did it graciously and lovingly and generously. And I want to thank all of you who joined us this evening. We're excited that you're a part of this now too. This is an incredible journey, and we always talk in the lab about what a privilege it is to be able to be a part of this project. So I will say that we will be back with a new session next month, Monday, August 26th at the same time, 6 o'clock. But please stay in touch with us for the latest news and happenings with the William and Mary Bray School Lab. You can check out our website, sign up to receive our weekly Bray School bulletins. We are affectionately calling 2024 the year of the Bray School, and the restored Williamsburg Bray School building will open in the fall in Colonial Williamsburg. So there's lots of excitement in the months leading up to and surrounding this event. But the research is going to continue. It will continue beyond 2024 as we work to discover the descendants of all the children who attended the Williamsburg Bray School. So I hope you all have a lovely evening. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.